welcome to episode 24 of TNA Top 10. I'm your host, T Weave, and this is your other host, the A in TNA, Andrew Hermes. How you doing, Andrew? How's it going?
Buddy, I'm good. We're here. We're live, pal, as we like to say. Or at least we used to say when we pre-recorded these things. Um, Buddy, it's been a good week. We're having a lot of fun. Got some feedback from our last show. Appreciate the people listening to us. Had a couple DMs, which I very much appreciated. And really, we're just here to have a good time. So, I mean, if you can't get down with that, I don't know what to tell y'all. Today's TNA's top 10 list is a good one, and we'll get there. Um, Highly debated about what should and should not be included, and that's why we're going to get hashtag blame Terry trending once again
No, no,
here on
blame
the
you
top
guys because
10
I
show.
disagree. But anyway, we'll see how it goes. So,
Yeah,
we
so we're
thought that we got the Super Bowl results to talk about, but what is there else to talk about this week? And man, did the floodgates open? So there's a lot to talk about today.
there's a ton to talk about. We're not going to spend forever on them. We want our fans to know we are going to learn how to we're going to learn the word brevity in terms of speaking topics. We'll see how long we go on each of these, but Terry is right. We got the two stories we missed last week, and plus we've got a bunch of other stuff. So I'm ready when you are, buddy, as long as we don't have any more announcements up at the top of the show.
Not that I'm aware of. If I had anything, I forgot about it. But why don't we start with a little bit of college football? It's been a while. Um, I'm going to go out of
All of
order
2 weeks.
here.
It's been a while.
Well, whatever. So the first thing I want to talk about, let's talk Nick Saban again. Nick Saban is
My,
now signed with College Game Day. It's getting a little crowded at the desk. I mean, what are they going to do here? They got Herb Street, they got Corso, they got Desmond Howard, they got McAfee, they got Saban. Is there enough room for all of these guys?
Corso goes away. His age and health is starting to catch up with him.
Yeah.
He goes away. But he'll be there for the headgear pick and the pick'ems. They'll make space for him. Obviously, McAfee, ESPN has figured out he's the guy. He's the person that people are paying to watch. Now you're going to pair him with someone that's a professor of college football like Nick Saban. Of course, you've got Desmond Howard, who's a little loud and out ostentatious at times about his Michigan fandom, but we'll allow it based on who we pull for here on this show. And, with Herb Street, let's face it, he's not going anywhere. I mean, he's a staple of the program. Um, there's no way they don't utilize Saban, but we've noticed that even Corso didn't do the whole show like he used to. His health apparently is starting to get away on him. But I think you're still going to see him try to do the picks. I will say this: if he goes away from the show, you'll never see that again. You'll never see the headgear. That'll
Oh,
be
I was going to say, I was going to
a Lee
suggest is Nick
Corso thing.
Saban sliding into the headgear?
Not a chance. Absolutely not a chance that happens. But I am excited because McAfee brings a certain level of entertainment to it. As we all love the greatest troll ever when he called the dogs at the SEC
Oh, that
title
was
game only to
awesome.
pick Alabama. It
It
was
was
so
great.
good.
Oh, the boo. It was
So good.
immediate. Oh, man, it
It
was
was a
fierce.
me. They knew exactly what he did. But then you're going to have Saban up there, and again, Desmond Howard is very well established. You've got Herb Street. Herb Street doesn't always pick the games because he calls them. Um, I'm excited for Saban to be on the show only because I love Nick Saban. I want to hear him break things down. I'd love to see him have his own little segment on defense or cornerback play or safety play. They've got a lot they can do though, Terry. And let's face it, McAfee's on Monday Night Raw now, and he's got his own show that's 2 or 3 hours a day. Plus, he's going to have a 4 hour game day. The man is a machine, and he doesn't stop. So
What else is he going
good
to
for
do?
him.
I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly. But I'm really excited. And look, you and I talked about it during our regular season show, as we call it. This is the off season. Uh, McAfee actually made College Game Day interesting again. He brought that level, and I think they're realizing they got to move a few pieces in and a few pieces out. But I think the desk stays true to who it is as long as Lee Corso is able, health wise, to be there. Because I imagine traveling as an 80, what is he, 80 80,
I don't
82,
know.
80 was some.
He's up
He's an
there.
older man. I imagine it gets cumbersome on him. So anyway, not to spend too much time on that, but yeah, so game day, big deal. Saban's coming. Um, and speaking of college football, you're gonna have legal action. Is that what I'm reading here from Tennessee? Tell
Well,
him to
the
stop it,
Tennessee
Terry.
Attorney General, um, there was some kind of claim against the NCAA. A couple of states. Let me open this up and see some details here. Look at me, not all that prepared, but we'll
If
learn
I
as we
remember
go.
correctly, because this was one of our stories we were going to talk about last week, folks. This is a big deal. Tennessee is trying to get a legal ruling on the name, image, and likeness and the compensation limitations that the Attorney General of Tennessee is trying to put into place. And again, we've said it over and again. This will be another instance of where the NIL is basically the Wild West. Right here in the story, Terry pulled up, and I'm going to hand it off to him in a second. It says the attorney generals of Tennessee and Virginia are seeking a temporary restraining order and preliminary injunction as part of their federal lawsuit against the group NIL rules violating antitrust law. So the NCAA waits till page 16, 2/3 of the way into the brief before it defends the NIL recruiting ban on the merits. So this is getting into the when is it okay to recruit, when is it not, what is too much, what is not, what is the role, what is not. Um, at least that's how I see this, Terry. But you said it, I don't know, a long time ago, months ago,
It's going to
that
be
the
decided in
NIL
the
is
courts.
gonna be it's a court battle. And that you said that. I'm not saying that, hey, these guys are super geniuses, but anybody that knows the type of money that is at stake for this sort of thing, the only way it's ever going to be decided is in a court of law, one
That's
way or
right.
the other.
Yeah,
One way
and
or
I,
the other.
I mean, so you open up the door a little bit, and once that got opened,
Yep.
you talk about these guys being employees now. And if they are not to the level of other employees, then um, somebody's going to file a lawsuit to get them to that level. And then all of a sudden, you're going to have unions involved. I think it was about 10 years ago, the Northwestern football team tried to create a union and it got shot down. Well, that's a little different now that they've got some of this stuff, and these guys are
Well,
starting to
now
get
they're
paid.
like you said. I was just going to say now they're legitimately being paid to
Yeah.
play. There is no argument there. To the point too that the NIL, in my opinion, is so stupid. Apparently, Donovan Raiola, son of Dylan or father of Dylan Raiola, went on television. The internet blew up because he and Herb Street had a conversation about how Raiola should try to resurrect Nebraska football and encourage his son. Donovan should encourage his son to go to the University of Nebraska. And now they want to say that Herb Street's tampering with Georgia's recruiting because he had a conversation with a contemporary of his about his son's future in college. Um, I I don't know if that one passes the test or not, Terry, any more than the one where he read a couple weeks ago or maybe a month ago at this point, where the Florida State coach gave the kid a ride to the meeting, but because he gave him a ride to a meeting that was about money, they're somehow in some sort of violation of NCAA rules.
Well, that's
It's
because what they're
absolute
trying to
insanity.
do, they're trying to pay the players without the schools paying the players. So you got these
Right.
third party groups that are not associated directly with the school. So
Yeah.
this is seen as an
Nebraska's is
association. Yeah. So
ours
it's
is the
nonsense.
1890 initiative, so I
Yeah.
get it. Yeah, we've got the 1890 initiative, and but anyway, along with that, because we just talked about the NIL National Signing Day. But Terry, I'm going to ask you a stupid question. Isn't it right now constantly National Signing Day? Because as the coaching carousel continues to spin out of control, Chip Kelly left UCLA to go be the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. Uh, God bless the Big Ten because he's coming. Um, and
Transfer
by the way,
portal is open.
it's open again. More proof, by the way, on the Chip Kelly front that Ryan Day got talked to and was told you will compete for a national championship because Bill O'Brien left for the Boston College job, which means those kids at the Boston College job, because that coach went to be the defensive coordinator for the Packers. Look at my hands, Terry. This is why we're going to have the benefit of video. We're going one way, we're going the
Do we
other.
need
But what it
another
does
map?
is,
Do we need
what it
another
does
map to
exactly.
say this guy goes here, this guy goes over
Yep.
here, transfer portal opens for these guys here, and that kind of thing?
Forget the team, forget the coaches. Understand this, folks. If the coach leaves, the transfer portal opens. That's it.
Yeah.
The student athletes have the right to leave the school at that point. And as Terry and I have, at least Kev, I don't know, we've talked about it too much offline. We can't find a spot where it says, well, if it happens after February 1st and Chip Kelly decides to become the offensive coordinator of Ohio State, then it's too late. You guys are stuck at UCLA. That's how I understand it, Terry. That's not how this works. Because I would imagine it has to be up to enrollment. Like if you had a coach quit mid-July to go somewhere else, theoretically, those student athletes could go apply. The only thing you run into there is they're still student athletes. So there is an admissions period that is closed.
Yeah.
That's university protocol. So this is going to get really crazy and really wild. And we probably just spent way too much time on it. But I wanted to bring it
Well,
up because we bring it up every time.
it's huge. I
There's
mean,
another
I think
coach
they're going to end up
leaving.
signing contracts at some point. How else are you going to, I mean, when you sign a contract, like I don't think technically they're signing a contract. They're signing something, but it's not really all that
Right.
strong. I think eventually they sign contracts that say, you're getting paid this much to play here. If you leave, you pay back this much, just like the coaches. The players end up being just like the coaches at that point. And the way it's set up now, the coaches are trying to scheme things. Obviously, when the head coach
Mm-hmm.
leaves, that opens the portal. Now, the second layer, when it's the coordinators, it's not that way. So
Mm-mm.
there's some stuff coming out now where, Alabama hired offensive coordinator from Washington, Ryan Grubb,
Ryan Grubb. Yep.
and it was just announced that he's going to the Seahawks. Well,
As the offensive coordinator.
what came out was they knew that a while ago, but they wanted the 30-day window to end before he left. So the Seahawks agreed to that. So they're just
That
scheming the
sounds like
system.
some Auburn. That sounds like some Auburn bullshit. Alabama would never do that. Roll
Right,
Tide.
right. They should do that. They should do that if they know what's good for them. But these are the things you got to think about. I mean, when you introduce something new, and this other story we got here, where the SEC and the Big Ten, they're forming an
Putting an
advisory group
advisory board
together.
together. That
So it's gonna
yeah.
get even farther different because these are the power two. We can
Yep.
pretend like there's more than two, but there's two. The ACC and the Big 12 are going to have a hard time competing with the Big 10 and the SEC now because of the additions of the new schools. And these two are in control and they're grouping up to figure out how do we change things. And that's huge changes. And it's still going to show up in the courts. We're still going to have trying to figure out how we set these contracts up, how we set up the rules for the NIL and transfer portal. And then you got these two big boys that are bigger than the NCAA. Let's not fool ourselves. And they're going to make the decisions on where we head. It's going to be interesting.
Well, and let's face it, Terry. You and I both know it. They've got more money. They've got the teams in their two respective conferences. I mean, there's not that good of teams anymore in the Pac-12, and the ACC has taken a serious tumble.
Yeah.
Or not, I said Pac-12. I meant Big 12. You knew what I meant.
Yeah.
But
I got you. The
because
Big
the
Eight,
Pac-12 is
right?
no more unless it's Oregon, or Oregon State and Washington State. So there you go.
I'm
But
interested to see what happens with that because they still own it. They could technically say one of those, whoever wins the game, is the champion. But we'll have to see what happens.
So stupid, so stupid. They own it for merchandising and licensing, and that's about it. But on this topic, like you said, it's an advisory board. that doesn't mean anything legal can happen. What it does mean is they're going to agree on things, and then they're going to use those money, resources, power, clout, all of the things they have inside their conferences, and they're going to try to pressure the NCAA to do what they want them to do. So make no mistake about it, to Terry's point, the SEC and the Big Ten, they are changing football, and they're going to be in control of what college football looks like. There is no doubt it'll be the Big Ten and it'll be the SEC for the years to come, at least the foreseeable future anyway, unless you all of a sudden get Colorado with Coach Prime out there, because we have to talk about him.
No,
winning national championship after national championship.
He says that he's
with the oldest
possibly going to have the
graduate,
top 2 NFL picks next year.
With the oldest graduate assistant in the history of college football was Warren Sapp. He started him on his staff as a, no, I'm serious. He started him on his staff as a graduate assistant position. I am not making that up. It's fantastic. Now,
that is fantastic.
Moving on in our college football, so we don't get bogged down in the minutia. Caleb, the crybaby Williams, I'm not playing in the bowl game, has now decided to say he could possibly boycott the draft if Chicago doesn't trade up. Well, Chicago's got a pretty good college quarterback right now. I understand that they didn't get what they wanted out of our boy there from Ohio State.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, he's still with the team, isn't he? Or, I mean, the potential's there to resign. Is that correct?
As far as I know. Yeah, I don't see any reason.
So,
I mean, if you're the Bears, what do you do here?
Buddy, I honestly don't know what you do, because what was his name? He was a really good Ohio State football player. Justin Fields. Justin Fields. Thank you.
Yeah.
Justin Fields. And did you hear me talk nice about Ohio State? Look at that. See, I can do it. But if you're the Bears, to your point, that's like putting Bryce Young at the Panthers. They suck.
Yeah.
Without help, I don't care who's your trigger man.
Well, here's one thing for you. You better get used to talking nice about Ohio State, because we're going to gear up for next season. And I don't see any way that Ohio State's not going to be loaded next year.
They spent $13 million. They brought in Chip Kelly. Ryan Day got threatened with his job. Ohio State is the odds-on favorite in my world to win the national championship right now.
And kind of back to the original topic of Nick Saban, I can't wait until Nick Saban is faced with picking against Alabama for the first time.
He's not going to. Roll Tide.
Oh, he will.
What we do here, Terry.
He will. I promise he will. I can't wait until it happens.
No, sir. He will not.
I don't know. He's
there we go.
Sorry,
my camera got a little fuzzy. I love talking about our production issues. My camera got a little fuzzy while Terry was talking.
Producer, what's up with him? Yeah.
What is wrong with him? But no, Saban picking against Alabama. Who's it going to be? Georgia? He's not going to pick Alabama or Georgia against Alabama.
What are you talking about? They're losing 6 games next year with him gone.
Stop it. They're winning a national championship with his leftovers. Roll Tide.
No, his leftovers are in Columbus. What are you talking about?
Only the best safety in the country, sir.
And the center that couldn't snap the ball straight. Anyway,
fire his ass. But you mentioned the Bears.
Yeah.
And this is a perfect segue to our next story, which is really cool. Steve Mongo McMichael. What a badass. Played on the 85 Bears team, the Monsters of the Midway, coached by Ditka. Famous, obviously, Saturday Night Live skit, the Bears. This is the team that they were talking about in the Superfan.
Yeah.
Mongo is a character and a half. He's a Super Bowl champion on the 85 Bears. He was a member for the wrestling fans of the Four Horsemen. If you ask Ric Flair, other than Ric Flair, Steve McMichael was the epitome of a Four Horseman, at least in the after hours. The after hours. No, what I mean is the party scene. That was McMichael's thing, was the party scene. Remember how he got Deborah,
come unglued on
Terry, Speaking of Alabama, Deborah, his wife, she's a
Yeah,
graduate there at the University of Tuscaloosa. Tony Schiavone loves Deborah, but remember, he put her on scholarship. His words, not mine. That's how he got Deborah. Was he put her on scholarship? But this is a legit tough guy, party animal, loves to have a good time, really good dude. We had the benefit or the privilege of being front row to a benefit to raise money for
that's right.
ALS as part of ad-free shows for him, and got to hear Ric Flair tell stories about Mongo and Tony Schiavone and Eric Bischoff. Um, Mongo is a man's man.
Hmm.
I don't know what the fuck took 30 years for them to put him in the Hall of Fame, but I'm glad to see that number 76 is in the Hall of Fame in the NFL in Canton.
Well, one thing that's come up lately, and it's been a while since I've seen it, one of my favorite Mongo moments. He was at the Cubs game. And when you're at the Cubs game, they'll bring you up and they'll let famous people do the seventh inning stretch, sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," a la Harry Carey. And he did that. And apparently there have been some bad calls. And he just on microphone to the whole crowd said, "How about we get some different umps out here?" Oh, it was fantastic. And the umps are like glaring at him up there.
Well, Mongo don't care. I
Oh,
mean,
he
he
don't
does
care.
not care. But
What are they
but
gonna do? Kick him out of the stadium? He don't care.
nah, I mean, it's really, really well deserved. Really, I mean, finally, they're gonna do what the right thing, and that was to put Mongo in the Hall of Fame. They should have done that anyway. Before we get to the other big game, though, we got to switch to basketball, and that's only because Black Mamba, the man that gets overlooked when the GOAT conversation happens, Kobe Bryant, had his statue revealed, I guess, 4 days ago at this point outside
First of
Laker
three.
Stadium. The first of three. This is where he's wearing number 6, scored 81 points against Toronto. Phil Jackson did not pull him out of that game, but the talk about Kobe, the thing that I loved, obviously with Kobe Bryant was he had the ability to just take over a basketball game. And he's the guy between Jordan and LeBron. But whenever anyone wants to have this greatest of all time argument, they never talk about Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant is a 5-time NBA champion, scored I don't know how many points, thousands of points.
Yeah.
The statue they put up the other day was commemorating when he scored 81. Um, his wife Vanessa Bryant said, "As I see today's current generation of star players follow in Kobe's footsteps with huge scoring games, I know he would take pride in knowing that he is still pouring inspiration into the game that was so special to him." Michael scored 60 several times. Wilt Chamberlain, in an era where they didn't play defense the same way, scored 100. Kobe Bryant over and again scored and scored and scored. So very well deserved. Derek Fisher, his point guard who played with him, said to his family, "Your dad, as you know, and your husband, one of the greatest human beings who ever walked this earth, and one of the greatest basketball players to ever touch a basketball. So no matter what people ever try to tell you later about who the GOAT is and all that, remind them." So really well deserved for Kobe Bryant, I think. And like you said, this is the first of
Definitely.
3 statues. One of the statues is going to commemorate his daughter, who died in the plane crash with him. And then, of course, there's the other statue that's going to depict him in the number 24 jersey that became, his signature. So had a lot of great teammates, talked about Derek Fisher, Shaquille O'Neal, Pau Gasol, Ron Artest, Meta World Peace as he went by. I love that. And then the guy, the Kardashians, they found in a crack house in LA. What was his name? He was the 6th man of the year back in 09 or
Griffin?
10 when
Is that who it was? No, I know who you're talking.
crack house in LA. He pissed all smoking crack back in the day. But it is what it is.
Lamar
So
Odom.
we move on. Lamar Odom. That's who it is. Yeah, it's
Okay, it took me
Lamar
a
Odom.
while. I
Yeah.
thought you were thinking
Yeah.
Griffin.
No.
So
No, I
and you
said Lamar
mentioned
Odom.
Pau
I
Gasol.
apologize.
I wanted to bring up the
Hmm.
Pau Gasol because there's a good story about how much of a competitor and teammate that Kobe is. When he was playing in the Olympics for the U.S. team, before the game, he said, first play, right after the tip, I'm running through Pau Gasol. And Gasol was his teammate at the time in the NBA,
Hmm.
but this wasn't his team. So he wanted to prove to his current teammates, I don't care if he's my teammate when we get back home. He ain't my teammate now. And he just plowed into him, knocked him on his butt. He was making a
Yep.
point to him
Yeah.
and to his teammates, and it was awesome.
Well, in that intensity, because that's what that is, that competitive spirit, that will to win, that desire. Kobe Bryant never put that down, and that's what makes him a winner. You don't have to like him. You don't have to like his politics. You don't have to like what he did and how he carried himself. I know he got his legacy tainted with that rape accusation, toward the end of his career. Um, by the way, folks, he was exonerated of that. So that I just and I'm saying that because I think that those types of things, you have to remember this man, his contribution to basketball will never be forgotten, because there's a reason Terry and I can remember when you scored 100 points, it was a big deal because we're old enough to remember that.
Yeah,
Now, the other
it's
night when they're
nothing.
commemorating this game, this game, the Lakers and the Warriors went into overtime and both scored over 140 points. That's absurd. I mean, that is 100% absurd. But anyway, good for Kobe Bryant. Glad for his family. Really well deserved that they put that step, because when you think of Lakers basketball, you got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, you got Shaquille O'Neal, you've got Magic Johnson, you've got Kobe Bryant. They all had really good support around them, but those are the people that immediately come to mind when you think of Lakers basketball and their 17 NBA World
Oh, it's
Championships or
crazy.
whatever it is at this point.
Yeah.
So anyway, Ron Artest, like Rodman, was my favorite because he was the bad boy.
Meta World
But
Peace.
he started going by Meta World Peace, yeah. And that, I mean, that just adds to my fandom that he renamed himself, and then he goes and gets in a fist fight, right in the stands. So
Oh,
there
of
it is.
course. Well, I mean, somebody threw a drink at him. It landed right on his chest. What was he supposed to
Hmm.
do?
Have a fight,
That's
and
that's what he did. Yes.
I think that's a good as transition as any. There, Terry. Speaking of a fight, the man who drafted Mr. Kelsey yesterday got his hands put on him. I don't know that
Oh yeah.
Travis was really thinking very well yesterday in the Super Bowl that you don't put your hands on the walrus. But hey, buddy, Kansas City, third time. They're building that quote dynasty. Um, but this time it was the defense that got the job done largely for him against San Francisco. What
Well,
did you think
we
of the
did.
game?
Well, I mean, we did a lot of talking about Purdy either being bad or showing up and being really good, but it looked to me like he wasn't the quarterback that was doing that on Sunday. That was Mahomes. You know,
Hmm.
he looked pretty horrible in the Super Bowl for quite a while. I mean, that one interception, I remember after that interception, I looked at somebody at the party I was at and I said, and they've been talking about him being better than Brady this week. He turned it
Hmm.
around right then and stormed back. And I don't know about you, but that last drive in overtime, I don't know what yard line they were on, but at some point I realized, oh, it's over. They're about to win this. And then they
Yeah,
did.
I
They
had a
just marched right
similar.
down and did it.
You mentioned Brady. I had a similar experience when the Falcons were up 28-3 with 9 minutes and 34 seconds left in the third quarter. And here come the Patriots roaring back, and it goes to overtime. And New England says, "We want the ball." And I looked at my brother-in-law and my sister, and I said, "This game is over."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "They're about to march that ball down the field, and they're about to win another Super Bowl championship." And that's exactly what happened. It wasn't that I was some genius. It's like what you're talking about. As football fans, you watch this momentum. I would have never, ever, ever let Patrick Mahomes go second when I won the coin toss. That's just me.
If
I
you're
would
going
have
to, you
made
better
them.
score that touchdown.
Yeah, I would have made them beat me,
Yeah.
because it's like my sister yesterday, she's like, well, why is he going for it on fourth down? They got the clock. I said, because if they don't go for it on fourth down, the game's over. He
Yeah.
has to get this first down or the game's over. So every game is a 4-down situation. Patrick Mahomes is way too good for that. If maybe the logic is, if maybe they had said, no, we're gonna defer, they're gonna go ahead, we'll play defense, then if they'd only held them to a field goal or something, they would have made Kansas City call the game differently. I don't necessarily believe that. We saw Andy Reid get real aggressive when he started running Patrick Mahomes, those few quarterback draws that opened up very nicely. And then you saw Spagnuolo get aggressive on the defensive side of the ball. Really good win for Kansas City. Obviously, I made fun of Travis Kelce. He was very frustrated early. Apparently, him and Andy Reid are fine. That happens in the
Yeah. I
game.
think
He
Andy
he
Reid
said it.
likes that passion. I mean,
Yeah, it just
that's going to
maybe
happen.
doesn't want him to be grabbed like that because he grabbed the hell out of him. But
He's a
um,
tough guy.
but he's a tough guy, and so I know there are people that thought it was very unsportsmanlike. Fine, Kelsey, bench him, whatever.
Well, you know what the problem is? What if he does that to Taylor?
Yeah.
That's what we're worried about.
Well, and I saw a bunch of that crap online, and I'm
Oh,
like,
did you? Yeah,
yeah, but I'm like,
I'm
well, there's
joking.
some of it was meme. No, it was like memes and stuff.
Yeah.
Somebody said Taylor Swift when Kelsey gets home, and it's a woman with two black eyes, and I'm like,
Uh,
you know, that's Twitter shit, and that's really not funny. It's not.
it's
It's
not.
not funny. The guy got caught up in his emotions. He was passionate. He's yelling at his coach that he wants to be involved in the game and help his team win a third Super
Right.
Bowl. I'm not dismissing what he did was wrong. The way he approached it was wrong.
And I'm sure
But you
he'll
can't
mention it on his
argue.
podcast this week. He'll say those
Yeah,
exact words. I should not have. And because his brother's done the same kind of thing. He's got pissed off on the Eagles sideline. They're
yeah,
passionate people. And, I'm not, like you said, not dismissing it. He will
not at
make
all.
some kind of statement this week, I'm sure. But they're celebrating because they just won a Super Bowl again.
Yeah, again.
And
And
they got a 28-year-old quarterback that
they got paid
is
a lot of money to stay there.
it's got a
A
lot of
lot
time
of
ahead
money.
of him,
Yep.
and who knows how many more they got ahead of him. It's crazy.
Well, and the thing is, they've lost key players, and it doesn't really seem to have that impact. Um, it's not an imposing, scary defense, in my opinion.
It's not.
But they played lights out last night. They were ready for everything. And then San Francisco had several dum injuries that really,
Oh, that
bit
was
them.
horrible. The linebacker that was coming in
The
and tore his
the
Achilles.
linebacker Greenjoy or Greenlove or
It's
the line,
horrible.
but 57, I think it was. He goes to step on the field, tears his Achilles. The PAT kicker, the kicker who had been perfect, um, gets blocked for the first time all
Oh, that
season.
was good. And that's
They
that's a huge play because that changes
Yeah,
the whole game.
yeah, you got the tie. I mean that ended up in
Yeah,
that ended there ended up being implications to that. So, but I mean, I thought it was a great Super Bowl
I
game,
thought it was
and
too. Yeah.
I mean there are people talk about Usher at halftime. It was fine. I mean, I didn't really think one way or
We
the
enjoyed
other
it
of
where
it.
I was. Several people, we had some folks dancing and
Yeah,
stuff. There's rumors of
yeah, and I
roller
mean,
skates,
why
but that was a bunch of nonsense. That didn't happen.
why wouldn't you? I mean, why wouldn't you dance to Usher and have a good time? You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah, it was
fine.
good. It was good. It was fun. And I said this, it's like I saw where people were posting how horrible it was. And I'm like, some people just want to dislike things. And those
Yeah, they got
people
to
are just not
complain.
going to like stuff. Yeah, and I'm not one of those people. There's some things I don't like, but I'm
Hmm.
not I'm not out looking for reasons to not like something. And I enjoyed it. It was fun. There were a lot of big names that showed up and came in there, and us old folks got to hear some music we had.
That we knew from college and high school
Right.
and 20 years
Exactly.
ago. Hey, by the way, y'all. Yeah, is 20 years old. You didn't know that? Yeah, well, you do now. Yeah, that's the song. Yeah. Um, no, I thought it was great, and the whole T Swift thing. Good for her. She made it back from Japan. She was there for the game. Um,
Well, Japan
I
told
thought
us
it was
she would.
hilarious.
They
They
promised the United States that Taylor Swift will be at the Super Bowl.
That's
They lived
right.
up to
And I thought it was great to watch her in Kelsey fashion. She's gonna fit right in. She was pounding a damn beer right out of that mug, Terry, like it was her job. She knew what she was doing,
it. What about
chugging that
Jason
beer.
Kelsey and what he wore to the Super Bowl? That was
Oh, buddy,
interesting.
dressed up as Zach Galifianakis out of The Hangover. When he
But he
arrived,
had
the
some
bag, the
overalls or
shirt, the
something on at the Super
oh
Bowl. I
yeah,
don't know. Yeah.
oh yeah, that too. And then
He
his
wasn't
wife,
in
of
his
course,
normal sweatpants and t-shirt.
and his wife, she won't support no Kansas City Chief
Uh-uh.
nonsense. She wore the Bearcats. She
She
was
made
wearing
it
Cincinnati
clear
because
a long time ago. She was an Eagles fan before they met. She is an Eagles fan now. Even if he had been traded, she was still going to be an Eagles fan. So
yeah,
she's
and you
sticking to
got to
her guns.
respect it. Yeah, you got to respect that. That's hardcore.
Yeah,
That's really hardcore. But yeah, I think it's been pretty. I think it was a pretty good game. I think
it was.
everything was really nicely done that way. And
Whoever wrote this script did a very good job.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Um,
Man, that
exactly.
part where
They
that
they
guy tore his Achilles, that is some creative writing, I got to tell you.
Greenlaw. Yeah, Greenlaw was his name. That's a huge component having your linebacker, one of the
It
anchors of
is.
your defense. All of a sudden he's not available to play. And then Kittle went to the locker room with I would imagine was a separated shoulder or something, and he
Yeah.
came back, but um because he was sitting there grabbing at that shoulder, and then he headed right to the locker and he was back out on the field. But San Francisco got some bad breaks last night and Kansas City got the good ones, but that's why you play the game. And we see it happen every week when we watch football. So, kind of is what it is that way.
Well, you know what? So every week we try to try to find some kind of inspiration for what we might rank this week. And I'm just going to tell you, we had no inspiration this week. This is not based on anything that happened this week, anything we've got planned. This week, I guess we were just ready to snack or something. Because this
Well, you
week's
talked about
top
how good
10, go ahead.
go ahead. I was going to say, you talked last week how much we like food. So here you go. That
Well,
must
that
have
was
been
the
what it was.
inspiration. But this week,
Yeah.
it's not that kind of food. This week's top 10 is top 10 road trip snack foods. Let's run it down. I'm going to have some disagreement. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, I don't agree with all these, just to let you know.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, whoever the hell put bottle caps on the poll,
That was me,
no.
and they are delicious, sir. You need to get over this nonsense. I am ashamed that that did not make the top 10. That's in the
It
others
didn't for a
receiving
good
votes
reason.
category because I voted for it pretty high. Bunch of jerks. Anyway, let's run it
You keep
down.
talking like that, it's going to be you and me doing the poll every week again, and we'll have a lot of ties. So,
Number 10, Skittles.
oh,
And I like
Skittles,
Skittles
baby.
okay. I'm not a big fruit flavor guy. I'll eat Skittles if they're there. I'm much more of an M&M's guy, more of a chocolate, but Skittles makes the number 10.
Like everything else, we disagree. I'm more of the fruity candy guy as opposed to the chocolate. So
I
I'm
got no
okay with
jokes
Skittles
for you,
making number
buddy.
10.
No
Buddy,
jokes.
I'm telling you, I laid it out there. You got to taste the rainbow, the fruity, the Skittles. I mean, it's right there. Just grab it and run with it. But no, seriously, I don't necessarily think though. Like if I'm going on a road trip, I understand why it's down the list. Man, I really have a hankering for some Skittles after driving 400 miles or however far it was to Huntsville, Alabama. That
A
did
long
not
time.
happen, sir. That did not happen. That I had a hankering for some Skittles. But what was number 9? Was it bottle caps?
You gonna say that every time? Bottle caps didn't make it
No.
because of y'all. If it was up to me, it would have been top 5. But number 9, Now this one I do
Ooh,
like. Cheddar fries and hot fries, whatever your flavor is, these Andy Caps things. Hopefully everybody knows what these are, but these are delicious. I don't know what they're made of. That's just part of the charm of this. They are made of sawdust for all I know, but they are delicious.
I don't eat them.
You don't eat them.
Not at all.
So
Not at
are
all.
we agree are we going to agree on any of these?
We might, but we're not so far. I don't eat those. Not at all. Not even a little bit.
You're missing out, buddy. Number
Probably.
8, pork rinds.
There you go. No hot fries for me, but I'll eat pork rinds. I like the spicy ones and the regular
Yeah.
ones. Keep your barbecue. That's me.
Yeah, that's how I am. I'm not big on barbecue flavored stuff because, I got, oh boy, this gets into the debate about grilling versus barbecue and
Oh yeah.
people mixing those terms and where did this flavor come from that they're calling barbecue? Like, I don't do sauces too much. I prefer
Mm.
meat with some seasoning. Don't slop a bunch of sauce on my meat. Oh boy,
Right.
let's move on from that comment.
Woo! So here's the thing about pork rinds, though, and it's the same thing I'm sure about cheddar fries. And if we get up the list with chips, gas stations know what they're doing, or convenience stores, or grocery stores wherever you buy these,
Yeah.
because they're salty as hell. So what do you need? You're going to
Oh,
have
you
a
got to
fountain
have
drink.
a Mountain Dew or
Yeah.
something and guzzle it down. Now we'll go ahead and throw this in there. We did not put drinks in here because we
Nope.
thought of about 50 things to choose from even without drinks, and it was going to be
Mhm.
a pain in the butt to rank these otherwise. And we did categorize some stuff because we thought of so many things.
But we
But with
will stipulate that no matter who ranks it, probably a drink of some kind is going to end up on a top 10 list for somebody. We will stipulate that. But it didn't make this top 10 list because it ain't a snack. It's a drink.
right.
And there's a difference, folks.
So I will say on this, I used to like pork rinds a lot more than I do, but I've done keto too many times and I kind of burned myself out.
All the salt, right? And it's being a snack that you can actually
Well,
eat.
it's high fat, low carb,
Yep.
so it's a go-to snack, but I can't do it anymore. It's like eggs. I don't eat
I
nearly
understand.
as many eggs as I used to eat just because of that same. All
Yep.
right. Number 7, Cheetos and cheese puffs. We kind of combined these two. They're not exactly the same thing here. You got the
They
Cheetos,
are.
which are the crunchier ones, and the cheese puffs are the ones I prefer.
Well, you got the cheese puffs, which are Cheetos, sir. They're in the blue bag. And the crunchy Cheetos have the
Well,
red color on them. So clearly you are not a Cheeto connoisseur the way I am, because if you like jalapeno cheddar, they have the green writing on them. All right. And then you've got Cheetos hot fries, which you could put down there with the cheddar fries, but they're not Cheetos. Here's the bottom line about Cheetos. They are a road trip snack. They're in my top 5 because that's where they belong. But you better have some damn paper towels and a wet nap,
oh, they're all
because
over the
you are going to
place.
make a mess of yourself eating those Cheetos.
What I didn't think about is the cheese balls. They make them in ball form too. So pretty much the same thing as the
The
cheese puff.
Utes,
Delicious.
Oots, however you want to say it,
Yeah, that's
UTZ,
right.
they're the
You get
ones
the
to get
big jug of them and just eat them all day.
for like $7.
Yeah.
And you wonder why Americans have blood pressure problems, diabetes, obesity, because we bought a gallon jug full of cheese balls and ate every single one of them. That's why.
Once you start, you can't stop. I mean, I think that goes with some other
No,
product, but it works for this.
that's it works for that. Bet you can't eat just one. Yeah, it works for it.
Number 6, popcorn. Now, y'all must like
Yes,
popcorn because
sir.
this was not in my top 10.
Buddy, popcorn, let me tell you, popcorn. You get the little bag, it's the gimmick, and you've got the options of the white cheddar, the buffalo cheddar, the regular, the butter. Again, get yourself some wet naps and a napkin. This is high level road trip, science and tips behind all this. But that popcorn, um, it's great. And like you talked about. I mean, you said in a roundabout way with keto, this is something that's not so horrible for you, if you don't eat the whole bag. But guess what
Right.
happens at the end
But
of
you eat
every
the whole
road trip?
bag.
Popcorn's gone. You eat the whole bag, some bitch gone. How many servings are in that bag? 7. Oh no, there weren't. There was
Like I
one
must be
because
7
I
people
opened
because I'm
it
fixing to
and I
dominate this.
and I threw it in the trash can when it was empty.
Well, my deal is I basically only eat popcorn at the movie theater. But when you get movie theater popcorn, there's probably 100 servings in that crap. So,
And let's not even talk about the butter. Like
oh,
when you go over to the popcorn machine, Terry, and you get the liquid butter leveler, and you just hit the button, and then you hit it again, and then you hit it
then you hit
again,
it again. Then
and then you
guess
might
what you
put a
do
little salt.
next?
Yeah,
You hit it again.
get a straw, stir it up.
You try to, and it's flying out all over the floor. I feel bad for those people that work there, those kids that work there having to clean that up because it's getting all over the place. All over the
All over
place.
the place. Yes,
And
sir.
not just when you're mixing it up. In the theater, all over the floor's sticky. It's all over the place.
Yep.
Number 5, Chex Mix. Eh,
I'm good with Chex
I
Mix.
can take it
Yeah.
or leave it. Yeah. I mean,
I love
I like Chex. I don't love pretzels necessarily. What else is in there? I do like those rye chips. People don't like the rye
yeah.
chips. I love the rye chips.
What are they? Gordettos has them,
Hmm.
especially too. You get the different Chex Mix. Obviously, you have Chex Mix brand, but you have the offshoots of them. I love everything about Chex Mix. It is perfect. It is a perfect snack. You get a little cheese, you get a little sodium, you get a lot of crunch. Again, better get yourself a drink to wash it all down
Yes,
with.
exactly.
Um,
Funny about all that
because
salt,
that's
you
the
need something to drink.
you need something to drink. Not to mention all the bread in it, gets wadded up and you gotta be able to clean your mouth out and all that other stuff. But yeah, the Chex Mix high on the list, Terry. I will say I have bought Chex Mix more than once as a snack. So there you go.
Number 4, nuts. So this is obviously a category because there's peanuts, there's cashews. My favorite's probably macadamia nuts, but they're expensive as crap.
Mine is the almond. You talk about the blue diamond almonds, the smokehouse, the hibachi, you
Yeah.
got the salted ones, but again, they'll high gross your ass at a gas station for some almonds, buddy.
Oh yeah.
But nuts is a must have on a road trip. And the good news is, like you said, we just named 4 or 5 different kinds. You can find them all at the gas station or the Bucky's, along with everything else. We didn't even get into what could be snacks at Bucky's
Oh god.
because we were there, and
Yeah, don't
Bucky's
get
is
ahead of
ridiculous.
yourself.
I mean,
We
they're
got
serving
something to talk about later.
serving brisket. I mean, come on. But the peanuts, this is the 2-for-1 gimmick where you get the one that's 59 or 69 cents, but if you get 2 of the little Frito packs, it's 2 for $1. So, again, we're obese Americans, but we want to save money too. So we're gonna get 2 packs instead of just the one, and that's kind of where we're at. So anyway, they make the list, bud. Did they make your list? Did this one actually make your list?
This did not make my top 10. No.
You got outvoted by everybody, didn't you? Popcorn, nuts, put bottle caps on the list. Ugh,
Hey, we'll get to some
ugh.
stuff I like. Number 3, Twizzlers. This is my other movie theater food. I get a big thing of popcorn and I get some Twizzlers and I tell myself I'm not eating the whole giant bag of Twizzlers. And by the end of the movie, my stomach hurts because I ate the whole giant bag of Twizzlers.
You lied
Delicious.
and you ate. Yeah, I was gonna say I love Twizzlers. Cherry's fine, strawberry's fine, pull and peel you could
The
give or
old
take.
kind, not this soft new stuff. I don't like that stuff so much. I like the older kind that's a little tougher and you got to yank on it to take a bite.
Yep,
Urgh.
yep.
That's what I like.
And I will add black licorice to that list as well. I do enjoy a nice black licorice. But
I
yeah,
might have to
Twizzlers are
try
top.
some of that again soon. It's been a while since my taste might have changed. I'm getting a little bit older, so my taste buds they're on round 5 or 6 at this point. I guess I don't know the math, but yeah, I've had a few sets, so you know.
Twizzlers top shelf snack though. That
It
really is a
is.
top shelf snack. Here's the other thing. They're not messy. So like you're in the
Right.
car, you've got a long ride, they're not messy. A lot of this stuff we've talked about, we love it,
It's
but
falling
nuts
all
can be
over between the
messy.
seats and
It's
everything.
follow Check Mix. Let's talk Cheetos. I mean,
And
you're
I'm
gonna end up
usually
with
eating
the
some kind of
orange
biscuit
powder.
along, and it's crumbling between the seats and everything. You got to get the vacuum out and get between the seats and clean that up.
Yeah.
So what I'm telling you
That's what we're
is, I
talking
don't
about.
drive a pristine car.
Yeah. And
I've
then he
got to clean
blames it
that
on the
thing up.
kids.
Well, it's their fault.
Mm. Mm-mm-mm.
Number two, gummies. We got all sorts of gummies, especially now in 2024. We got all sorts of gummies. We got worms, we got bears, we got sharks, we
Yeah.
got
Uh, uh,
who knows.
I don't remember. You got the rings, the peach rings, and
Oh, those are delicious.
the apple rings.
And we
Yeah,
even
those are
got the
good.
sour stuff. There's
These
sour gummies that like the what are they called? The kids thing.
night crawlers, the night crawler
No, well,
things,
there's
the ones that are
those, but
pink
then
and green,
there's
and
the Sour Patch Kids, or those are gummies, aren't
oh,
they?
the Sour Patch Kids. Those are good too. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So sour is a great flavor for candy. So I'm glad you mentioned that because you have sour Skittles down there in front of bottle caps, along with regular Skittles, and let's not forget the berry Skittles,
Well,
and even
another
the
honorable
tropical
mention is
Skittles.
Nerds. They're sour. It didn't make the list. See, I'm more of a Nerds fan than a
Who
Skittles fan.
who put nerds on the list? That
Nerds
doesn't
are
even make
fantastic.
sense. Stop it.
Oh,
Stop, please. Don't
all
don't
right.
lie to our audience. But the gummies, like you said, again, something not too messy. It's a little bit of a sugar
Right.
rush. Caloric intake is not stupid if you behave yourself. But like me, they do the 2 for 2 gimmick. You get a bag of the worms, you get a
Yeah.
bag of the peach or whatever. Ask me how much of either is done when I reach my or is left when I reach my destination. None.
How much, sir?
Both
Yeah.
both bags are gone. They gone, buddy.
I'm
They
sitting here
didn't,
also thinking about all those little bags you're talking about. And there's those little peanut butter bars that are good. I'm mentioning stuff that's not number one, obviously. Circus peanuts. I like a good circus peanut.
What the
Oh,
hell is
you
wrong with
seem
you? Circus
appalled.
Peanuts
What are you
bottle
talking
caps?
about? They're
Oh
they're
my
delicious.
God.
What are you talking
Oh,
about?
stop it.
We disagree more
Stop it.
on this than we
Stop
do
it.
on football.
That's scary. Roll Tide.
Anyway, let's move along to number one. And I guess I agree with this a little bit. This is not what I choose normally, but it's probably because of the cost. Beef jerky. And you were talking about
The
Buc-ee's a minute ago. They got a whole jerky wall, giant jerky wall with all sorts of stuff. And that's what I stopped. Sensed that you were about to mention it, and I knew it was number one, so I didn't want you to talk about it.
but here's the pro tip. If you're not buying the jerky from fucking Buc-ee's, go to Walmart, go to Sam's, go to Costco, go anywhere other than the convenience store you're putting gas in, because you will go broke buying beef jerky
Crazy.
at a filling station, convenience store, gas station, whatever you want to call it. You got to have fuck you money to buy beef jerky for a road trip if you do it at a gas station. So don't do that. Go to your big box store, get your jerky ahead of time, have it in the car already. And then the thing is, temperature doesn't affect it. It comes in a nice little bag. You're not going to make a mess with it. You're still going to need a drink, probably. Get the peppered. That's the best. Don't give me no teriyaki nonsense either, Terry.
I'll
Um,
see there. I'll take the teriyaki.
there it is. There it is. But no, beef jerky, I'm serious. Talk about getting high grossed. Go to your local gas station and get a bag of beef jerky and see if you can get out of there with less than $10. It is stupid expensive, but it is an awesome snack.
Yeah, and
Awesome
that's
snack.
why that's why I don't normally um get beef jerky for a trip like that because it is so expensive at the gas station.
Yep. Yeah, and it's absolutely ridiculous. Like we've got and I get all of a sudden now we're gonna get tangential about money. We got these little gas stations around here in particular called Handy Marts. I'm sure they're everywhere else, but
Yeah.
they literally are they're like the Dollar General, buddy, or not the Dollar General and the Family Dollar and the Dollar Tree. They are literally everywhere. Like you can't go very far without seeing a Handy Mart. If you go get their pound bag, I don't even think it's a pound. It's like their 8 ounces of jerky. You know the one I'm talking about, the Jack's beef links
Oh
like
yeah,
this. You know
yeah.
the little bag. It's $12.99 at the gas station. Forget it. Go get you one from the big box store. That's where you got to go.
All right, so that's
And
our
that
top
concludes
10.
today's. I was say that
Yeah.
concludes today's lecture on saving money. Go, go
We
to the
didn't get
store.
we
Don't
didn't
go to the gas station.
not quite as many tangents talking about snack foods on the road as we had about Las Vegas, but I think that's understandable.
Woo! Yeah, man. He was wearing Bermuda shorts, smoking that cigarette. I'm telling you. Good grief.
So that's our top 10. Who knows what next week will be? We got several ideas. We're going to kind of get
That's your
ahead of
top
the
10
game on
from an honor roll student and an engineer, by the way.
who was never
Honor
an
roll
honor roll
student, sir.
student. Was I ever an honor
I
roll student?
was.
I don't.
I was. I popped the crowd with that line, sir. I am an honor roll student. Delinquents, please. Oh,
So
buddy.
I do
I
have
was
one
interrupting you,
more.
though.
No, that's okay because I got one more little story that we didn't get to earlier because we were talking mostly football. And this is kind of a wrestling thing. Earlier this
Oh,
week
I
we heard the
forgot. Yeah,
news,
yeah.
but it does
Yeah.
relate. We've got a weird connection this week. But Billy Jack Haynes, who's well known for being a wrestler in the 80s for the WWF, and I think he's from the Pacific Northwest. He wrestled up there some. Um, this guy was known for being tough guy. I think he worked for some pretty rough guys at some point. Um, he was arrested for the murder of his wife this week, according to reports. Now, the police did not, I still don't think that they've released his name, but like neighbors have stated that that's who it was. And that was his address and that kind of thing. Um, so this was a big shocker. Anybody that's a wrestling fan, if you're old like us, then you know who he is. Um, like I said, he's done some things in his life, been involved in some things that I don't know all that for a fact, um, but it's a shocker because it happened, right? You say, well, that might make a little bit of sense. If it was going to be somebody, maybe it would be this guy, but you hate to hear it for his wife. I don't know about children or any other family members, but you hate it for them. You don't know what would have led to this, but horrific
And it's just
story
so
there.
just so random
Yeah,
because he's one of those people that's like the Kevin Bacon of professional wrestling, where there's 6 degrees of separation between Billy
right.
Jack Haynes and wrestler X. Our buddies on the Talking Wrestling with Pondwater Dave and friends, and I got the damn title right this time.
No, there's no
I
and
think
friends on there. You didn't.
it's not.
There's no and
Damn.
friends.
Anyway, okay, so Talking Wrestling with Pondwater Dave.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, they actually did this where they would do the 6 degrees of separation of Billy Jack Haynes, and it never failed where he would end up. They'd talk about him, and I believe our guys at FFP did this too. Um, it was incredible how interconnected he was to the business. And then out of the blue, you hear, "Oh, by the way, he just killed his wife." You're like, "What the hell?" You know?
Yeah.
So I was not like a big Billy Jack Haynes fan. I mean,
No.
obviously when Chris Benoit killed his wife and family, that one really shook the wrestling world because
He
he
was
was
right in
so
the
much
middle of his
more.
career. Yeah.
And he was, yeah, he was still active. He was on TV every week. He
Yeah.
was so much more well known, I think, particularly by the internet audience at the time.
Right.
You got to go find people old enough like you and me, Terry, to watch territory wrestling
Yes.
that know who Billy Jack Haynes is. That does not dismiss the fact if he actually killed his wife. Okay, you're a murderer now too. You're not just a professional wrestler. Um, but yeah, just like you said, out of the blue, really just random and shocking, but tied to our champ of the week that Terry is going to tell us about this week
Speaking
instead of me.
of 6 degrees of freedom, or 6 degrees from
Separation.
separation from Billy Jack Haynes, I chose this champ of the week before I heard of the Billy Jack Haynes arrest. So this was pretty interesting. I'd put some research in. And for those who know, you will understand what I'm saying when I say the name. If you don't, I'm going to mention it along the way. Our champ of the week this week is Ashley Flowers. For those who listen to the Crime Junkie podcast and some other podcasts, um, she is the host of that. Um, sorry. So she was formerly on the board of Crime Stoppers in Central Indiana. They wanted to find a way to reach younger people in the community. So she started a 20-minute weekly show called Murder Monday that aired locally on the radio to reach younger people that might be interested in these murder mystery kind of things. She founded Audio Chuck in 2017. That's where the Crime Junkie podcast is. She's got some other podcasts that go with that. They're all true crime podcasts. Um, and this is where I say there was an episode of Crime Junkie a couple of years ago, I guess, where they were talking about the murder of two teenage boys in Arkansas. And Billy Jack Haynes was there, had seen these boys. Now he was dealing with like some drug deals or something. This is where I say, you know, I'm going to throw the word supposedly all over the place because I don't know any of the facts here necessarily. This is just what's been reported. But this episode was about these murders in Arkansas, and Billy Jack Haynes, toward the end of the episode, was mentioned as somebody that just happened to be in the vicinity at the time. And it was just out of the blue. I'm sitting here, a wrestling fan, listening to this, and his name comes up. So that was very odd that I pick Ashley Flowers this week. And then the next thing you know, I hear Billy Jack Haynes gets arrested.
Yeah.
So, more about Ashley. In 2020, Ashley founded a nonprofit organization called Season of Justice, which provides grants to labs for DNA testing to solve cold cases. Now, if you follow any true crime, you know that DNA, it's not like it is on TV. You see it
Mhm.
on TV, they grab the DNA, a week later, they have all their answers. That is complete nonsense. That is not how it is. There is DNA that has been there for decades, stored away. They don't have the money to test all the DNA for all these cases, and it just kind of sits there. Well, she got tired of some of that, so she founded this nonprofit. And since 2020, in the first year at least, I only have the numbers for the first year, they were able to donate $225,000 to families and others involved in 31 different cold cases. And I couldn't find any new numbers from that. I imagine that that's grown even more than that since then. So obviously, she's trying to get the word out on some cold cases, trying to help information, trying to assist some of these detectives that have been trying to look at some of these cases because sometimes they need some outside help and they try to do that kind of thing. They get the word out on a weekly basis about a lot of these things. So Ashley Flowers is our champ of the week. And if you want to listen to those podcasts, look first for Crime Junkie. It's always in the top 10, I believe, on Apple Podcasts. It's a big deal. Um, I love listening to it. And if you like that kind of thing, it's worth reaching out for.
Well, and like you said, Terry, 31 cold cases. That's a lot. That's
It
a
is.
lot of cold cases getting involved in. Um, we like to think that you can solve a crime in 43 minutes because that's what television has taught us. That isn't the case, like you said. And there's a lot of these places don't have proper storage facility, et cetera, et cetera. The fact that she was able to commit to that and do that it's very impressive. And it gives the people the closure. You put the criminals behind bars. Hopefully you bring awareness to the scientific side of it. Because it's not Gil Grissom and his CSI team in Las Vegas. This is This is a process. It takes a long time. You can go ahead and collect DNA and you won't have an answer for 6 months. Um, so the whole, oh, we're backlogged, but I buy you breakfast and all of a sudden I'm in the front of the line. That
Right.
doesn't work. Um, so no, really, really good work she's doing. Um, and obviously, we need more people like her because for whatever reason, we have continually growing criminals in this country. I mean, more and more and more people,
We talked about
proportionally,
it last
percentage
week with
wise,
Ashton
despite,
Kutcher. I mean, it's getting worse and
you
worse,
know,
especially with the internet.
well, and proportionally, if you want to look at population and per capita, we have the highest incarceration rate of all industrialized nations in the world. And that number has not gone down in the last 50 years. It continues to go up. So if you've got that many people in prison, how many people do you have committing crimes that are not in prison?
Right.
That's, something to be concerned about. So I'm very supportive of work like this, particularly when you run into that cold case element, um, because then you're on a clock, you know, and that, like I said, I'm good for her. I think a well-deserved champ of the week from the TNA podcast.
So I'll say this about the champ of the week. We're really proud to be able to do this every week. Obviously, I'm not going to run them down. We've had 4 now. So, um, but we look forward to doing this every week. And I'll say if you're listening to this and you know somebody that you feel fits what we're looking for there, please suggest people to us because we're going to need to, I know there's enough to fill once a week, but there may be somebody that we don't know about that we're overlooking. So if you feel there's somebody out there that deserves this, that you would like us to do a little research on and to talk about at the end of the show, we would appreciate you reaching out to us to do
No, because most of the time as well, these people are not going to be publicized. They're
that. Right.
doing things quietly behind the scenes. Ashton Kutcher, obviously major television star. We knew who he was, but I don't know that that work of his gets publicized nearly enough any more than Ashley Flowers' work gets
Right.
publicized. And she's on a podcast network. So there you
Right.
go. Agree with Terry there. Please send us your suggestions. We're more than happy to feature people that are deserving of the moniker and the champ of the week. And we know that our listeners have people in their lives that are, and probably people they know of, like celebrity wise, that maybe
That's
we
right.
would never think of. We would never think of person X, Y, or Z, and we need the help. So we certainly will appreciate it.
That's right. Well, it's been another good show, Andrew. It's been fun. We're going to be up front with
This
you.
one
We're
went fast, buddy. I
well,
mean, I
I
didn't mean to
think it
interrupt you,
did.
but this one went
Well,
fast.
I mean,
Yeah, it seems like we
so
had a good time. Yeah.
to be transparent, we're kind of working on what the best technology is for us. So if you see any kind of, we had a little bit of an audio delay last week. I'm
Yep.
sure that you listened to it and you heard that. We're working through that. We're trying to find the best thing for us and what we do, trying different technologies. Hopefully, this week's a little better. It's going great as far as the live recording here. I think we're going to package this up and it's going to sound wonderful. I think we're isolating what we need to do. Um, we've went through a lot of stuff today, a lot of stories. It's been fun. Kind of a silly top 10 this time. I enjoy
Mhm.
that. They're not always going to be related to the main topic. A lot of times they are, like last week, but this was fun. We love talking about food. I'll talk about food every week if we get the opportunity.
Right. And to Terry's point, similar to the champ of the week, if you have a suggestion for a top 10 that you would like us to cover, please let us know.
I
Genuinely,
thought
let
you
us
were
know.
going somewhere
Uh,
else.
no, 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 no. But if you have a top 10 that you think we should
Absolutely.
cover, we are more than happy to do. We've got some silly ideas from one hit wonders to bad B-rated movies. And those are kind of easy just because they're
Yeah.
pop culture and they're out there. Um,
We're also looking for
you
voting
know,
technology. So we've used
yep,
multiple ways to vote. We've used some bad ways to vote that didn't work out that great. Um, I'm finding the right thing for us, and eventually we're going to be voting for football teams again. So we need something
Yep.
good there too. So if you've got any suggestions, please let us know that. We may reach out to you to actually vote on it that week if you want to do it. So, we're trying to streamline this process the best we can. I think we're improving every week, and I really appreciate it. It's been fun doing this with you for the last several months, sir.
Yeah, I'd say we're getting close to 6 months, believe it or not. Probably right at 6 months. We're at episode 24 anyway. And I know we took a couple weeks off, but yeah, I have a good time with Terry. I think you guys can all hear that through our audio and our banter, even if he does think bottle caps is a top 10 snack
I'm
for the
gonna go
road.
buy some bottle caps. What was the other one? Circus peanuts and the
Circus
little
peanuts,
peanut
bottle
bars or
caps,
whatever it
and
was.
yeah, you were all over it today with the worst snacks ever. That, by the way, could be a top 10 list because let's face it, people shit on candy corn, but I'd rather have candy corn than circus peanuts. And that might be a hot take, Terry, but I'd rather have candy corn.
Mm. Well, I can't say much to that nonsense. So I will say this: thanks for listening, and as always, obviously you can tell the show's changing as we go. We're going to do the best we can. We appreciate all the support that you give us. Any listening, we are on YouTube now. Might take me a few days to get it there, but please check us out there. And as always, it's been fun, Andrew. I thank you for doing the show. I love doing this with you, and um, love your people, everybody. Let them know about it. Don't keep it a secret. And we'll see you next time. Thank you for listening. We are TNA Top 10 on all social media. I'm TWeave79. He's 30-year fan. We're available weekly where you get your podcasts. Like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.